What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Have we talked before?
I think I called 2 days ago, and then or 3 days ago. My girlfriend called 2 days ago as well. But
Is it
yeah, no,
Brooklyn, right?
yeah, that's right.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay. No, I
Brooklyn.
think we spoke to her, yeah, a couple days ago. So she's, well, you guys are dynamic. I mean, you guys are pushing it. So
Yeah,
cool.
we're giving it everything right now. I mean, just in my free time, I'm pretty much doing everything I can.
Okay.
Um,
What can I help you out with?
couple of questions for you guys. Well,
Shoot.
things are going good so far right now. Um, I feel like I haven't given it enough time yet to make an assessment
Okay.
of where we're really at. I want to give it like a full month and then say, all right, here's where I need to make adjustments. We need to make more calls. We need to be driving around more. Maybe at that point, we sit and we actually uh, review kind of the work we put in and see how we can make any kind of adjustments. But right now, things are going the way that I expected them, to
Okay.
say the least, right?
So you're a
Uh,
month into your journey?
Not even like
Okay.
since June. Yeah.
Okay.
So a little over a week, but I mean, I feel like I've been doing everything the way that you guys laid out, and I'm starting to learn day by day and kind of just adding on those layers of making me pretty good at this.
Okay.
Um, as far as some of the, we are getting some interest from people. I called a guy the other day who was pretty interested, but he was almost embarrassed with the fact that he signed with a big company. It sounds like who, if he happens to back out of a contract, he can't sell for like 4 months. Have you guys heard of this or like
Yeah,
ran
it's
into a
it's
situation
it's
like that?
so I'm here to tell you. So I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger doing this. Okay. Dude, I've had more lawsuits than I care to admit to. I made mistakes. I didn't do anything wrong. But being ignorant is not a defense. I promise you. So when you go on an appointment or you're talking to someone on the phone and they've admitted to you they've entered into some other contract, you kind of have to stop because you're
Right.
gonna like you will wind up in court faster and you know what hit you. It's just I'm telling everybody on this. If they tell you they've entered into a contract and say they reach out and talk to you or they want to entertain you to make an offer, the guys, some sellers are just they're devious. Like it's just like they don't understand they sign one contract to the other. So when you hear another contract, you gotta go listen. When you break off that contract, I would love to talk to you. I'm open to talking to you. I can't entertain you while you're doing this because if that contract doesn't go through and they want to use you as the scapegoat, you can personally be sued. You, your company, your girl, like it's so I've had this happen to me. Um, I've had it happen to me too. So I've had it happen on both sides. So immediately when you hear someone's entering in multiple contracts, you're most likely going to be struggle to ever get them to a closing table. Number two, these big companies like Open Door and all these others that are buying these houses, they've stopped. They're probably not going to close on that house. They're
Okay.
most likely not going to close on that house. If they're not going to close on that house, it's reasonable that the seller should get a release from them to do what they want with the house. That only sounds fair, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So if they don't, but these are very one-sided contracts, so open inspections and crap load that. So at worst case scenario, you can wait it out and just got to kind of entertain it. It gets like sloppy, but listen, if this company stopped buying and they never honored anything on their agreement, I don't know if that 4 months actually really sticks. So if you get a good deal and it makes it work, you might want to just review it with a title company or like an attorney. But like all the hedge funds right now, they're
Okay.
all on lockdown. They're not buying anything else. And keep in mind, they've been buying like a third of the deals on the market. So all these like pending contracts, I would keep a careful eye on them, guys. But like, I don't want to get sued by that company. I don't want to get sued by the seller. You just stay in good graces and ask for a release of contract. That's all. Give me a release of contract, and I'll write an offer today. And I'll make this really easy for you. Without the release of contract, you might want to take a look at it and have someone at a title company or a lawyer review it. If it's a really good deal, it's worth bringing in a lawyer. If it's okay, I'd probably just wait them out the 4 months because you'll probably get a lower price anyways.
So they can write you in for 4 months Like, I guess what he's saying
listen,
is that if he backs out of the contract, he
if
said
he
that he can't sell for 4 months after that.
yeah, so realtors do that all the time with their
Okay.
listing. They do it up to 6 months to a year. It's listen, the odds of somebody enforcing that, in my opinion, are slim to none. Now they're doing that so sellers don't back out, but like 4 months is excessive. 30, maybe 90 days is reasonable. Like I
Right.
get it, right? You don't want anyone to do it. I would never write that in my contract because it's a very one-sided contract. By the way, just because they put it in their contract doesn't make it legal. It like I could tell you, you know, you have to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes for me to do this deal. I can't enforce it on you. So
Right.
you have to weigh the assessment. Would this company come and sue me? So the biggest person you're most vulnerable is the homeowner suing you because you will never ever win. You guys hear me? If a homeowner sues you, the odds of you winning are so slim to none because if they are the homeowner, it's not a rental property and it's their homesteaded property and they claim you abused or something, the judge is going to most likely put the burden on you, not them. And they could, listen, I've been in courtrooms. You'd be surprised how people can spin stuff with an attorney. It's like really bad. So I would just get on her side and you can't coach her on like the legalities of it. Ask her to reach out to a lawyer and just talk to him. Talk to a title company. It's a ridiculous contract. If I was a betting man, they're probably not going to enforce it because I don't think they're going to buy it. So how long has she been under contract with them?
I think like not even 2 weeks.
Yeah. I would be nervous that I don't think they're going to buy it. And did she share the price on it?
No, so they're gonna fish offers and present them next week is what they told me.
Yeah.
And basically what they had said was, "Hey, I'll give you a call then, and I'd be happy to back out of the contract if you wanted to wait that time. I just don't want anything bad to happen. Like, I don't. I just kind of did it, but I kind of just signed to sell.
Yeah. So that gives you an idea what like motivated sellers, they just want sign and they want the
He
pro.
just sounded like he didn't want to show the house. He wanted one company to do all of it
No,
and then
I get
bring
it.
me up.
Listen, just stay on a follow up. It's not worth trying to sabotage a deal like that. Just try to
Right.
find other stuff and go listen. If you get released from the contract, they don't follow through. I would love to help you out and just like move on. Like I've pushed before and I got in trouble. So I'm just telling you, don't push. It's up to them to seek legal counsel to get out. They sign the contract. And here's what these companies do. You sign one-sided like 20-page contracts. It's ridiculous. And people understand when they sell to Open Doors, Zillow, all these other places, there's a lot of pain like in those contracts. And they don't because there's a sales guy that signs it up and then there's a team that actually transaction coordinator takes it down, and then there's a dispo team. None of them give a crap about each other. They just run each other under the bus. I've seen these contracts before. In the super hot market, they never ever backed out of them. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if they backed out of it. But worst case scenario,
Okay.
CJ, you wait 4 months, you just get a cheaper price anyways, because by then he's like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with these games. I got to get this shit done. Sorry about that. That's gonna kill me. It's and then that kind of gives you some time if he calls you back and stuff, you can kind of figure out what kind of price. But I ask him, how much did they put it under contract for you? Just ask. The worst you're gonna say is like, I'm not comfortable giving that information. I always use this as a cheat sheet. They don't
Okay.
have to give it to you. Just ask. Why? And you know what? It's a good learning experience. You go, well, shit, that's terrible. I was only going to offer this and they paid this. Well, if they can't fire a buyer, they overpaid for it and you're not going to make that mistake twice.
Okay.
So, um, is
That's
it
a good
is
question.
it like the average median price in your neighborhood or?
It's a good area. When I called it, it's like a prime time area
Yeah.
to
So
get
I
a good.
had a deal once similar to that. She told me she got out of the contract with the other wholesaler. The house was going to auction in 9 days. I took the deal together, signed off everything. I assigned it. I made my money. And then 3 months later, I got sued by the other wholesaler. I only made like 12 grand and it cost me $32,000 to
Yikes.
get my name cleared. And like, I didn't do anything. And I couldn't, like, they're like, you have responsibilities. And I just learned the minute she said she had a contract,
Should
like
have called.
you just have to walk away in a court's eyes because now you're liable. And if you proceed, then now you're liable. So I bought a house and it basically cost me 20 grand. It was like, I was so embarrassed by it. I'm just like, the damn thing was going to auction. The guy had it under contract for 9 months. It was like a $30,000 house in like a crack neighborhood too. I'm just like, so my intentions were right, but just because your intentions are right doesn't going to mean you're going to get out of it. So
Right.
I don't think this company is going to close, man. Like the right, all my hedge funds, because even my staff's like, they're not buying anymore. I've confirmed it across the country. Open doors, it now closed door. Here's the good news. You're not going to have to compete with them going forward. I'm
Right.
telling you. And when they say it, talk to your buyers, go, listen, just understanding those are open-ended offers. If everything's not perfect, they're not going to close. And they can get out of those contracts are written where they can get out up to the last day. They're very one-sided.
Okay.
Motivated sellers will sign stuff like that. They just want their problem solved. So you just got to go find another one and stay in good graces with them, but be really, really careful. I don't want you to make a financial mistake with it. If she says, hey, I'm out of the contract, if he says it, say, that's great. I'm going to put you in touch with my title company. If you can prove to them you're out of it, I'll enter into a contract. That way the liability is off of you. So
Okay.
us wholesalers,
Yeah,
like we're hyper aggressive and we want to contract everything. That can get you in a lot of trouble. So by the way, I have home investors in my market, and they try to talk half my clients out of our deals. And I've sued them twice. I win every time. It's like, and I make them pay dearly, and they know when they see my name and my company's name on it.
Stay away.
Well, they get shady staff, and these are like licensed broker that goes, no. I know you signed a contract with that company, but they'll never come through on it. I'm like, I've bought 3,000 properties. I'll come through on it, and you cannot interfere with people's contracts, guys. You get in a lot of trouble with it. So the good news, all these companies, I promise you, for 18 months, you're not going to hear a word from them. So you won't have to deal with it. In the last 2 years, it's been ridiculous. Zillow's been our biggest competitor in our local market. Unreal. But they overpaid for every one of the houses. I sold one house to Zillow. I'm like, if you guys want to pay for this, you can have it. It took them 4 months to close on it, though. 4 months. Because everything had to be perfect. So,
right.
What else you got?
I had a couple questions. So,
okay.
In looking for sale by owners, is Zillow where you want to look? Facebook Marketplace? I've seen a lot on Trulia that I'm not seeing on other sites. So I'm like,
well, those rules are going to change as we go, because these properties aren't moving. They're not. They're going to get slower and slower every month. The problem with the average homeowner, it takes them a long time to get the bad news. So depending on how much they watch CNN, NBC, like all these news stations, there's not a. Do you realize, I watched the other day, they're still reporting positive data for like real estate other than mortgages. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They're like, oh, prices are up 16% over this quarter. Guys, it's 6 months behind. All the data is way, way behind. It's really bad data. So when it comes to FSBOs, ideally you're looking for properties that just aren't moving on the open market. I'm going to be honest with you, like we haven't had much look on Facebook Marketplace, but that could be local to my market. Florida's we're just
right.
flooded with idiots. Zillow's, it's going to be good. The properties just aren't going to move. I will tell you, the low end properties, guys, they're always going to sell. They always sold in a bad market. They'll sell in a good. They sold in a good market. It's the stuff once you get to the median price and above. Once the glut of inventory, and who's to say? I just think we're going to have a more balanced market, but realtors are still to this day telling people let me list your property. You'll get above ask list price and it'll be like no problem. What you want to do is find people that put properties on there that have some sort of issue with their property. Any type of issue on a property right now is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Buyers are just going to pass on it. They're not going to put up with the crap. Do you realize how much crap buyers have put up with the last 3-4 years? It's like they just take houses for what that is. The last probably 25 houses we've sold, this is stuff like my company bought. I don't have to sign stuff. Is we just make them pay for everything at the closing. Like it's non-negotiable. Like, here, have it. The old days, like, oh God, let me pay for everything. And now we just had a deal today that like, you need to pay the doc stamps. I'm like, and then I said to my wife, I go, we need other buyers. She's like, no, just take it. I go, okay. So we're starting to see the shift here. So you'll find a pattern, and when you start calling them, but you want to find houses that are, just a little bit like maybe ugly, find a pattern. You're still not chasing the pretty houses, guys. They're still going to be a pain in the ass till the end of this year. After the end of this year, then you can even chase the pretty houses.
Okay.
So
And for those,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely preferential towards Zillow over Trulia. Is it Trulia?
Trulia.
So I don't spend a lot of time on Trulia. The one thing I like about Trulia, when you deal with like the lower end houses, you can see like if I went in your backyard and I was trying to like I had a house under like contract, and I was trying to figure out what I could do. Like I look at I love Trulia. They give you the crime rates in the neighborhood. They'll even give you a feed of like the last car stolen, and it's like, and then they color code it.
Okay.
So like if you get in a neighborhood, you're like, there's no like we do some stuff like we had one in Tennessee. I'm like, just get rid of. I don't even want to deal with that property. Like it's the worst crime phase of all. We dealt with a like in Memphis, and like there's just certain pockets, just like in Florida, we got like bad areas. We got Liberty City, like crazy stuff, like Riviera Beach. Like it's just, and they're next to like $20 million homes. It's crazy, and I guarantee
Right.
you have neighborhoods like that too. So when you find something that has success, just replicate the pattern. So if you found like a 3-2, and it was outdated, and they told you they had a problem with the house, and it was on a FSBO, and it was sitting on the market for like 60 days, find a way to search for those types of houses, and you can do it. Eventually, guys, I haven't touched MLS data in like 8-9 years. I haven't even looked at it. By the end of this year, we're going to go deep into MLS because I know the stuff's going to sit. So
So
I'm looking for higher end houses that I can buy and like potentially take over mortgages and stuff like that, but it's got to make huge financial sense. But I don't want you chasing those houses down first. You found the right seller, your timing was off. That's it.
And then I did speak to a woman the other day who is in the process. It's like she said it was a pre-probate property. We were wondering if like she was like, I'll give you a call back. Like I have your number and stuff. She's like, I'll definitely keep your info, for when the probate is like closed. So I was like,
Okay. So her objection to you was when the probate's done, then I can consider selling you the house.
yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you on a little bit of secret. How long ago did they open up the probate? Do you know?
I haven't looked through the file yet, see when they opened
Okay.
it.
So I made an entire living off of this argument. Okay. Did you know that you do not have to wait till the probate's done to buy a piece of property in probate? It's all BS. It's
Right.
so probate's been around a long time, like hundreds of years. A probate is just a legal move that takes the deceased person's final financial affairs and wraps them up. They can't sign loans, they can't sign titles over, they can't close bank accounts, and they can't transfer deeds. That's really the purpose of probate. Along with it, there's supposed to be a responsible party from the family, usually the PR, the executor, that carries out the wishes if they have a will. If there's not a will, there's an entire process they go through. So if you have a probate and they have a will, it's easy. Here's the key. Find out how many heirs there are. If you have less than 4 heirs, it's easier. Once you get more than 4 people, have you ever sat in a room and tried to get 4 people to make a decision on where you're going to go to dinner? It's like torture.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like even like when I ask my wife where are we going to dinner, it's just like she'll tell me a place. I'm like, that's fine. And then it's like we're still circling the drain like 20 minutes later. I'm like, sometimes agreeing just doesn't always work. So in the probate, in this case, if you have 4 or less heirs, there is a will in place. You can confidently tell them, what if I could show you a way where you could sell your property now before the probate's over? Is that something you want to talk about?
Okay.
And why it works so well is because everyone told me I had to wait till the end of probate. I sat down with the lawyer. He goes, oh, that's BS. He goes, the lawyers say that so they can jack up their fees and they stay in control. Here's the key is if you enter an agreement with that seller and they're the PR, you have control. You don't have to sit there and take the lawyer's crap anymore. What most lawyers do is they try to guard the seller. They're basically trying to guard their deal. I don't blame them. I guess if I was a lawyer, I'd do the same. Once you enter into that contract, you don't need the lawyer's consent for anything. You just say, listen, I always talk to a local title company and hopefully there's a lawyer associated. They can file a motion to liquidate that asset. Why? Because houses are a huge drain on an estate. They have to pay the light bill. Somebody's got to mow the lawn. Someone's got to pay the property tax and the insurance. And sometimes these things go on for years.
Right.
And people just in the if the house is empty, it falls to crap. So I've already told you, if a house sits 1 year, you usually lose like 5 to 10% of its value. So people have made cases. So now you got to check the law specifically in your state. But once you figure this out in your local market, now you could go out and market people and go, what if I could show you how you could sell the house before the probate's over? Is that something you want to talk to about? They go, sure, I'd love that. I used to use the word, what if I show you how to cut through the red tape of probate? The key is here, if you can beat the lawyer to that contract, you will dominate. The minute you need that lawyer's permission, it's torture. It's literally like, I just give up. It's like, so once you do that, then you have to instruct the lawyer and go, listen, can you just file a motion to liquidate the property? Now, depending how your state does, all the judge wants to know if it's a valid contract and both parties consent.
Okay.
California's got some crazy laws where they could have to have it appraised. There's some crazy states out there, but your state, which state are you in? What state are you in? You guys are free.
South Carolina.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I've never heard anything come back on it. So guys, this is why I tell you, you talk to title companies, associated lawyers, you can learn these little things. So when that objection comes up, you actually go, I have something clever that might work, and you just give it a shot. And it's just little lines like that. What if I could show you how to sell your house before the probate's over? Now, here's the key is, say they get $100,000 for the proceeds of the house. It just goes into a checking account for the estate of John Doe, and the money sits there until the court approves it. The key is they don't have to deal with the house and think about it anymore. So if the house is run down and it's vacant, it's absolutely perfect. I think I bought 150 houses with that line alone.
I'm pretty sure from what I saw on Zillow that it is. So
it is what?
It was one of the ones we got in Drive for Dollars. When I called, she was like, "Oh, it's pre-probate."
Yeah. Guys, if you can get through the realtor and the attorney, you win. I like to do it real fast, and then an attorney call. Once I have it under contract, I know I don't need his permission. So right. I'm actually right now being challenged by an attorney in a court of law, and it's like, here's my attorney, you get your attorney. I go, I'm confident, and like I've been through this before. So attorneys tell their clients all the time, you have to wait till the probate's over. Why? They can drag fees on forever. And then, by the way, the attorney's the one that always refers they refer the real estate agent. They'll refer an appraiser. None of that's required by law unless you're in a state that requires that. So do your homework on it. So I'm telling you guys, the probate thing. So repeat back to me. So they go, hey, Brooklyn, listen, I'd love to sell you the house, but it's in probate, so I'm going to wait till it's over. How are you going to respond?
Well, why don't I help you cut through the red tape of probate, and there's actually a way to get around that.
So you want to rephrase it and ask them a question that they have to respond other than a yes, no.
Okay.
So Brooklyn, what if I could show you how you could sell that house before the probate's over so you don't have to deal with it anymore? Is that something you're interested in going further on? Just simple as that. So just say, you got to ask them a question. And sometimes they'll go, no, my lawyer said I have to stick to this. And like, I'm here to tell you, there's a certain percentage of sellers, for some reason, between the realtor and the lawyer, they will never break what they say. Don't fight those people. You're never going to win.
Right.
But there are percentage of people like, hell yeah, I want to get this over with. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right.
Like, great. Can I just get some information from you? Find out if they have a will. That's one of the predominant ways, because wills really make things go fast. In a lot of states, if it's just a husband and a wife, depending on how the title is on it, they can actually, the lawyers just file to exempt it from probate. And a lot of those properties get sold within 30 to 90 days very fast.
Okay.
Almost 50% of the houses in the Florida get sold that way when people die. So if I wait for probate, it's never going to happen because it's not going to finalize on it. So it's, guys, you do not have to wait till probates are done. I've argued one-on-one with attorneys. I'm not a lawyer. Check in your local state laws. California is kind of the whacked one. There's a few others, but I don't know every one of them. There's 3,600 counties. I'm just here to tell you, you guys can buy these deals. I want you to learn every time. So you guys are only like a month in your journey. Every time you learn, you go, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'll do it. I'll do that again. And that's how you get really good at wholesaling. So you guys mentioned there's a guy, Corey, in the threads here. He started less than 6 months ago. Dude, this guy's doing so many deals, and he's just like a regular hardworking guy. He's like, Rick, I never knew you could make money like this. This is like insane. I've been taught wrong my entire life. Hey, welcome to the party.
Right.
I didn't start till I was 33. I didn't wake up.
Hmm.
And my son has such a head start, and he has like such a clear mind how money works, guys. Just explore it. I'm just telling you, there are no limits. The only limits that placed on you are the ones that you think society makes you do. It's all BS. I'm telling you. Like you can make, I'm telling you right now in wholesaling, you can make $100,000 a month, and you can do it within year 1 or 2. I am not kidding. I'm not. And guys, I don't have a big staff. I don't do any of that crap. I've done it all. It's all a big joke. If you take all these companies that do all these big seminars and stuff, and we do 1550. I had someone the other day. I'm not even going to call the name out. He says he does 50 deals a month, and it's just him and his partner. You can't do it. It's physically impossible. Like honestly, guys,
Right.
I do 4 or 5 deals. I make a ton of money. Like we just did a deal yesterday. Wholesale. I put $100 out of the pocket. We're making 53,000. I've been doing this 20 years. It never goes away. Was it tough the first year? It sucked. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I made so many mistakes. You guys are on the right path. Just keep doing what you're doing. It'll work. So you've walked away with
So
another skill set today. Go ahead.
Really quick, one last question since you're the probate guys.
Yeah.
How hard are you marketing them? Like, how aggressive are you going? I know it's a more sensitive
Real
topic.
simple.
Like,
You send them a letter, which I share with you, my letter in freewholesaling.com. Get the
Right.
probate list, try to get it from the court system, either online or in person, and just mail them a simple letter. So I do a letter and then like what we call a warm call. That's all you need to do. And then if they don't respond, to decide if you want to do letter number 2 or not. And then put them in like a regular postcard or something like that. And then, but
Okay.
speed kills in probate. And the really cool thing, it's not expensive. It's very like, I think we spend like $125 a month to market to our probates. And honestly, I've made some insane checks. Like until the point I was almost embarrassed at the closing. I'm like, can you just double close it? Because I don't like a 6-figure assignment's embarrassing, like on a regular single family home. But I get people like I don't want to deal with the house. I don't want to do this. And I can tell you, I did some probates when I was young. I didn't even know how I found probates, guys, is I sat down with my CPA. He goes, how the hell did you make this much money on this deal? I go, I don't know. This guy's wife died, and he says he wants to get rid of the house. He goes, find out how to do more of those. So I took 3 months, and all I did was go to every probate court, and I studied, and honestly, I knew as much as a lawyer did. If you really want to know something, you'll learn it.
Right.
And I just learned how to overcome everyone's objections, and I learned how to get lists, and I just pushed and I helped people out. And it's like, I did hundreds of deals just doing probates alone. And you know what? My average, I got 3 times the profit on a probate on a regular wholesale deal. So here's the secret though. Probates, like, you're not going to do 10 a month. It doesn't work that way. And you can't scale it. You can't do 15 counties. It's impossible. Like, it's logistically impossible. Every county has a different process on how they collect their probate data, and they'll drive you nuts. I work 3 counties because we don't want to drive ourselves nuts. And you think you're leaving another country the way they do probates. It's ridiculous.
Right.
In the same state, 10 miles from each other. That's what they do. So you guys got it. Like, if you want to do probates, do it. Like the thing I tell people when they do probates, just keep doing them. Even if you don't get a phone call and you don't get an answer, and give it 1 year. And after 1 year, if you don't do a deal, then I agree with you. Stop.
Would you door knock a probate?
That's a little challenging. I think that's a little much, but that's a personal call. It's not. Listen, I said for years I'm not going to cold call him, and then I brought my son the business. He goes, "Give me the damn phone." And all of a sudden, our deals went through the roof because I found out realtors were cold calling him. I go, well, that's not fair. Right. So I'm not a big cold caller, and I give huge props to people that got the guts to cold call, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. My son had like a natural knack to it. Like he still to this day will cold call anyone. He doesn't care. It's like, if you learn not to care what people think of you, like I always tell people at the end of the day, if they're not going to your funeral, don't care what they think, because it doesn't matter. So you have to care what your family thinks. Don't get me wrong, but please don't take the journey. If they're not on the journey you want to go on to, do not sign up for it. I constantly have families still to this day tell me, you still doing that risky thing called wholesaling? I'm like, yes. And they're the reason why I fly you guys all the way across the country, take care of you at everything. Like, I'm the man when it happens on that, but like when it comes down to it, that's like risky. And then when I was teaching my son, it was like, don't. So actually, you guys know, Zach went to college because I come from a long line of educators, like high educators. And I always knew my kids are brutally smart. Like, I'm dumb as a rock when it comes to books. I'm just not, it's just, I'm a street learner. That's why I'm so good at this. I never fit in school. I never understood it. I like the party. I like to have fun. I didn't understand what it was. So I went and got a finance degree. I was like, why are you getting a finance degree? I go, I want to know about money. I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker. And then I learned like that sucks. You sit behind a desk all day.
Right.
So, but I went up, sit behind a desk for like 12 years doing a job I hated. And that's how I got into this. So don't wait till the point you get so frustrated, guys, that you hit a wall and you're like, okay, I got to make this work. So the earlier you could start, the better. And it's tough in the beginning. And I'm just like, you guys are just starting out. I'm just keep doing it. It only took my son about 120 days ago. Holy crap. This is amazing. He goes, I just made more money on one deal than I'll make the next 3 years working my job at the grocery store. I go, I told you. And then when he went away to college, he recruited his entire dorm room and turned it into a call center.
That's awesome.
And he's like, Dad, he goes, can you come up here? I need like 10 grand. I go, yeah. I just like, and we had like so much fun doing it. And to this day, all his friends are like, how do you do that? It's like, they all think it's like a scam. It's not a scam. You just got to put the work. So I love what you guys are doing. Just keep doing it. I'm telling you, you're going to wind up just like Corey did, just like the rest. And the opportunity, I'm not going to say it's going to get easier over the next 18 months. It's just, you're going to see a huge psychological shift in your sellers. Unfortunately, is going to take time, but we can't sit around and wait for it. We got to make money today, and we need to figure out the best way to do it.
Right.
Figure out how to block these morons.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank
Keep going, and just, you know where to get us on the live. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Thank